What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, and yes, we're a day early. This is a surprise Cure Wednesday, in part because tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and even though it'll be more difficult to shoot any reactions tomorrow evening, meaning like the Friday following will almost surely not have audio reactions. But even so, I don't know exactly how early I have to get up tomorrow because I have a family Thanksgiving that I have to go to, and it'll definitely be earlier. It will change my schedule. So in that regard, I wanted to do The Cure tonight just to make sure to get them in this week, in part because I'm loving this journey, but also in part because Just Like Heaven is one of the 2-for-1 we're going to listen to, as I mentioned last week. And that is a song of theirs. I know on some level, I've heard it before. There's a main syllabically repeating line from Robert that I do recall. I can hear him singing it, but I don't know the tune back to front, top to bottom, and I don't think I've heard it as many times, even as a tune like Close to Me, where again, going into that one, I was aware of it, and that one, I had a better sense of the sonics of the tune and so on, whereas with Just Like Heaven, it's really just like one or two lines and like kind of the mood of the tune that I think I have a vague recollection of. In any case, I'm looking forward to that. But before we get to that one, the first track in this playlist is Hey You. Now, I did mention, I think last week, when I start going through an album, I just open up the master release on Discogs, because sometimes there's extra production credits or, there's additional information that I can have access to. So as I go through the tunes, I'll do a reaction to one, and then I'll go look at the master release on Discogs, and sometimes there's information that I can glean even before all the fine people here provide comments. But I did notice that on the master release, the songs are in slightly different order, and Hey You doesn't appear to show. So I don't know if the version I'm going through from Phil, obviously big shout out to Phil, this deluxe edition, which again, like all the other ones we've been going through, have 2 discs. I don't know if this decided, or the people, responsible for the deluxe edition, presumably on some level The Cure themselves, but if they decided to alter the track listing relative to the original release. Nevertheless, yes, Hey You is the first tune we're going to hear, and it sounds like an energetic, maybe enthusiastic, or it could be, perhaps threatening, like, hey you, don't do that. But when I read it more like, hey you, like, you're eager, you're excited to interact with someone, you are trying to get their attention, and there's a degree of familiarity, certainly on the interpretation that it's more positive. Like, you can point to a stranger and say you, but yes, when I read it, it sounded more like enthusiasm. Given Robert's songwriting, maybe I shouldn't be inclined to see it that way, but I did. In any case, it will then be followed by Just Like Heaven, which, not remembering the full lyrics, I'll just say, if you're saying something is just like another thing, yes, you're making an association and you're suggesting there is a similarity, but you're also suggesting, like when you use the word verisimilitude, that it is not actually the thing itself. So it is not heaven, it is not paradise in any literal or metaphysical way, but it is just like heaven in terms of the emotion or the feeling or the atmosphere. So let's listen to them both. This is The Cure. The first song we're going to hear... Oh, Luca, you are right behind my chair. You are a risky girl. Yes, the first track is Hey You, and that will be followed by Just Like Heaven from Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, 1987. Oh. okay, you're fine. Yeah, so before we start, Just Like Heaven, yeah, that's crazy. Obviously, it's a shorter one. Secondarily, it's not an instrumental, but there aren't a whole lot of lyrics in there, and they feel like almost an articulation of sentiment more than a narrative or even a scene setting per se. But yeah, like, okay, so what was the first one? Like, hey, you, one who looks like Christmas or something, come over here and kiss me. I think I'm getting that wrong, but essentially that seemed to be. And then the second one was like, you who is delirious, but like still with the idea of like kissing or being kissed. So, and definitely we got a repetition. It was two, I don't think it was three, but kiss me, kiss me. So, that makes it seem like on some level it could have been the source of the album title. But yeah, it's fun, it's a bit zany, a lot of instrumental parts, a bit more of like a natural instrument sound, again, some brass. I mean, there are keyboards in there, but yeah, the guitar, the bass I was hearing, and, some flourishes, almost in a like, not Spanish brass, but it had a bit of a flair to it. And Robert's vocals, a bit bright, a bit zany and delirious themselves, so yeah, a fun little tune. I don't quite know what to make of it, and as I said, I think, no, please don't knock everything down. We're like halfway through the video here, Luca. Okay. Let's see if we can get you back up onto the chair and see if you can... Perfect. So, yes, I wonder, though, again, because it was so short, because it was a bit of a, like... not quite an instrumental, but not quite a full song either. And because it was a bit, like, zany, it feels almost like it could be a B-side, which is in no way a criticism. Again, I've enjoyed pretty much everything I've heard from The Cure. Obviously, like, some very different things, and maybe some tunes have, like, struck me on a first listen more than others. But I pretty much like everything I hear from them, including this song. But yeah, it sounds maybe a bit more like an interlude track, or indeed like a B-side, rather than a full album song, as you would expect when it comes to picking songs to go onto an album. Though again, I have heard a number of albums where specifically there are these linking tracks where it's kind of a song, but it's almost like bridging two tunes more than anything else. I'm thinking of, there's a Kate Bush album I'm thinking of immediately that has a couple of those, and yeah, there's like Depeche Mode albums that have that. So yeah, it feels a bit like that, though relative to the two examples I just gave, more like a full song. In any case, I'm rambling, so let's listen to Just Like Heaven, and I'm very much looking forward to reconnecting with this song. things, and many more after that, but the opening two comments I have is, number one, how many of their songs feel like they could be on an all-time 80s classic compilation? A high percentage. I mean, that is so nostalgic to me, in part because I do know this. And actually, like, as the song was playing out, like, every melodic, every sonic detail felt like coming home. It's like, oh God, like, it just makes me think of being a kid, and again, here in Southern California, listen to K-Rock, and, you know, as I've said at multiple points along the way, clearly The Cure were more a part of my youth soundtrack than I realized. Again, because I was following Depeche Mode, because I was following, you know, Erasure and some of these other groups, those were the ones that I, like, would think of, but again, clearly there was a lot of Cure going into my ears and through my brain, and it's only now that I can appreciate just how significant that was in my joyful music experiences of my first 10 years in that decade. Secondarily, how is this the same group that does a song like The Snake Pit? Like, how it's just mind-boggling to me. And again, I go through groups that can do some different stylings, but The Cure really, they can go so dark and wicked and dissonant, and they can go so catchy and poppy, and they can also go so eccentric and abstract and a bit zany. Like, they can just do all of these different lanes, never mind like styles slash subgenres, but even like music type or like approach to a song, they can do in so many different ways. And, you know, here over the course of the same album, it's like we're hearing songs that, if you didn't know better and if you didn't hear Robert's voice, would you really believe they're from the same band? It's just crazy. But yes, catchy, fun, beautiful. A couple moments where I think Robert's vocals are actually kind of like emotional and touching. Maybe part of that is influenced by the nostalgic feel of the song. But yeah, there's some songs about, you know, feeling love, and, you know, I think he's speaking for another person at the beginning. It's, you know, like, you know, show me, show me, show me how you do that trick, she said, as she like throws her arms around his head. But then it feels like there's a reference to, what was the line? Because it wasn't just like heaven, it was like just like a dream or something. I think that's the repetition at the end. So I think it's the idea that like an emotional feeling, an emotional circumstance, a situation that it's almost like it's not real. It's like you can barely believe it, or it feels like it's, you know, the stuff of like magic, or the stuff of reality beyond the everyday humdrum, like a dream, like paradise, like heaven. So yeah, I think there is a strong emotional content to this one. It sounds a bit euphoric, though maybe it's a bit more nuanced than that. I didn't catch all the lyrics clearly, in part because I'm just having this nostalgic feel fest while I'm hearing it, but it's a top tune, it's a catchy tune, it's a tune that, as I said, it screams 80s to me in the very best way. So once again, just a monumental track, and I did enjoy Hey You, though again, very different from this, so a very interesting 2-for-1. In any case, we should be back onto the regular Thursday schedule next week, so thank you to everyone who's been part of this Cure deep dive, as well as all the people who have been commenting week in and week out. You are very much appreciated. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.